on his way. Hello and welcome to another episode from the water's edge and another video in the challenge series. Now, it's been a debate for many years, what is better, the old way of fishing with the natural baits or the new way with the man-made baits. So from the water's edge we've come up with a simple challenge to try and find an answer to this riddle. Basically, we're going to be fishing two rods against each other. On one rod we're going to be fishing the old traditional way of fishing, which is going to be an open-ended feeder with maggots, ground bait, worms and old school baits that you used to use many days ago, which is what I've got in this bucket here. It's along with a nice bream ground bait, because hopefully that is what we're going to be catching today, with the odd chance of maybe a tench or two. And in there is maggots, casters, corns and worms. And his opponent, and what I think is going to win this challenge pretty easily, is the man-made stuff today. Again, it has got a ground bait carrier, because this is going to be going on a method feeder, which is more used in today's fishing. And in there is boilies, pellets, a bit of corn and nothing natural, all man-made stuff. So as I said, a nice simple challenge. I'm pretty confident what's going to win. Chris is, on the other hand, thinks the naturals is going to take the lead. So as always, there's a Chris £5 note on this one, and we'll see who wins at the end. Keep tuned for that. Now, as I said, we're going to be putting two piles of bait out on each rod. And the way I'm going to be doing this is using the spom. I'm sure many of you have seen this before. If you haven't, basically it's just to take on the spod, and all it is a rocket shape button on the end, and as that hits the water all the bait comes out, so you can put a lot of bait out in these in a very quick amount of time. And you also eliminate the issue with spods, as you can't put hemp or maggots out. Anything can go in these at almost any distances that you're likely to cast a lead. Great piece of kit. Now, to keep this a fair challenge, we clip both rods left and right at the same distance, and I've got a great tip to show you how you can clip the same rods every time for every session. So let's just take a walk up the bank now and I'll show you that little tip first. Now, this is the tip I was quite eager to show you about, because to be honest, I class this as probably the best tip I've learned in the last 3 or 4 years. I think if you use this productively, it's definitely going to catch you more fish. And basically it's a simple way of getting the same distance every time. All you do is you lay your rod on the ground, a bank stick at the tip and a bank stick at the butt. All that then is you've got 12 foot in between the bank sticks. All you then need to do is wrap your line around the bank sticks up to however many times you want. Now, today we're fishing 12 turns around the bank stick, so it would just be a case, we've already done this earlier, but you just wrap it round like this each time round the bank stick, and you're then marking your distance out. When you get to your 12 turns, all you do is you'll slip the line under the line clip and you know exactly where you're fishing every time. Now, what I meant by be proactive with this, if you turn up in the middle of the night and you've already marked out with a note on your phone or on a notepad that island you're fishing to or that feature you're fishing to is whatever 10, 12, 14 rod turns, you can put a bait there in pitch black. It really is a great way to get exactly on the same spot. All I've done is clip this rod up. I'm now going to go and clip the two fishing rods up, and then we're ready to start the session. Before we start the session and have a little closer detail about the rigs, we need to get this bait out. Now, as I said, we're going to be using the spom. To keep it fair, we've flipped it up with the rod turns, as you've seen, and I'm going to put 20 spoms on each rod. Now, we're sitting on a little point, and the left hand rod is going to be on to the left of it and the right hand rod is going to be to the right. So they are definitely far enough apart not to interfere with each other. As I said, we are trying to keep this as fair as we can. The same distances, same line, same hooks, everything's the same apart from the bait. So all we're going to do is to fill the spod, press the button to open it. First of all, we're going with the man-made stuff. Fill it up, try not to get any bait in the mechanism or at the back there, because it will open in mid-flight. It's then just closing it, your line's clipped up, and you just pick your marker on the far side, which I've got a big tree, and 12 turns is just a nice overhand, gentle lob, hit the clip, and it literally empties straight away. So there's no waiting around with the spod, flicking your rod tip the same as you would be with the spom. You just wind it straight in as soon as it hits the surface. Now, this is going to probably take me a little while to do 20 of these on each rod, So I'll carry on and we'll catch up with you in a minute.
The bronze bream is a shoaling species. They are the equivalent to an underwater herd of cows, travelling together and feeding slowly, methodically and ravenously. Bream shoals can be very large in size, and a decent shoal of fish can mop up a huge amount of food in a very short space of time, especially when they are feeding confidently. This is why in this session we decided to bait heavily. 1, to attract the fish to the swim, and 2, to keep them there. Mainly a bottom feeder, bream like a good feast, so we decided to give them a banquet. We hoped that our good quality ground baits and particles would keep them grubbing around for hours.
So that's both spots, exactly the same amount of bait, spread over the same sort of area. Just going to quickly pop this rod out of the way. While I'm down here, we'll have a quick look at the rigs. Now on the left hand rods and the man-made baits, the more modern way of fishing is again nice and simple. It's just a normal method feeder, short hook link, size 12 hook with a hair rig. Now that's going to be on there. We're going to probably switch between boilies, pellets, anything that we think may get us an extra bite. That's one rig. On the other rig, we'll just quickly grab that, is a more traditional way of fishing, which is an open-ended swim feeder which slides on your line. Bit of a longer hook link and the same size hook again. Nice and fair as the other one. Anyway, I'm going to get these rods on the spots and we'll hopefully see you in a bit. That's the first cast on the spot nicely. I'm just sinking the tip straight below the water as soon as I've cast, because we've got quite a nasty crosswind coming from left to right. And if you leave your line laying on the surface layers, it's going to move your feeder and it's just going to not let you get the slack line you need to set any bobbins or anything. It's really important to get that line off the surface where the wind is rippling and get it sunk as quick as you can. The best way is just to keep your tip firmly under the water for quite a few seconds before you set any of your bobbins or your alarms. Now that is pretty much set nicely, just going to clip the bobbin on, make sure it's tight enough, switch some volume on the alarm, and there's the first rod fishing. Let's get the second rod sorted. Ready with the second rod now. I've picked the marker, try and judge myself with this wind, hit the clip, same as last time, rod tip straight under the water, get that surface line sunk. It's a little bit easier this way when I'm casting into it. I'm not getting quite as much drag as I did on the first rod. There's a couple of bleeps on that rod already. Quickly try and set this one, just in case that decides to go. I think that was a line bite, drop backwards and forwards. But there we are, that's both rods set. It's time to let battle commence and we'll see what unfolds in the session. Well, we've just had the first run. Unfortunately for me, it is on the right hand rod with the more natural bait, traditional swim feeder tactics. It does feel like a bream. It's real heavy weight, not really doing much. Not too far out now, just trying to keep steady pressure on it. There's a lot of weed in this lake, so I'm trying to keep his head up. Now slowly come under the rod tip, really trying to bury for that weed. It is a bream, very big bream. causing a bit of grief under the rod tip. It's very rare you get bream that actually fight this hard, but in this lake, the sheer size of them, they have actually got some powers. This one's actually got shoulders on it. It's a very, very big bream. He's in the net. Let's take him on the mat and we'll have a look at him. There he is, cracking size fish, and that's first strike to the naturals. Hopefully there's a few more to follow. Let's get the rod back out there, see if we can catch some more. Try and let him go. There is quite a bit of weed in here, so I'm just going to try and hold him by the tail and guide him out, tip him upright, and he's on his way. What a lovely sight seeing a bream go back like that. Cracking start. Let's get that rod back out, and I'm hoping for one on the other rod.
With the first fish of the session landed and safely returned, the natural baits and old style methods led the challenge 1-0. However, with bream fishing, we didn't expect the scores to stay like this for long. We fished hard and regularly cast our feeders, building the swim and adding more bait. We were confident of a few fish. However, we were wrong. Why? Who knows? Perhaps we had caught a rare lone fish that hadn't been attached to a shoal. Perhaps it was just a case of the fish avoiding our hook baits. I don't know. But I suppose that's why it's called fishing and not catching.
Well, after that first fish earlier on in the session, it has gone unusually quiet, and we've sat here scratching our heads thinking of things to do. We've plugged away and it just doesn't seem to be happening. So we have come up with a plan, and we've decided we're going to put a lot of bait out on both spots and come back tomorrow and give it another go. Everyone knows bream likes big beds of bait, and that is definitely going to be the way we're hoping it's going to bring them on tomorrow. We're going to reel in for today, and we'll see you back on the bank in the morning.